Hello, my name is Arman Khodaei, and welcome to my newest episode of Insights from the Autistic. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing dating, sex, and relationships. We're going to look at dating from my perspective and how it can apply to other individuals with autism. Also, for individuals without autism and that are trying to date or are dating an individual of autism, how to apply dating, and also for parents, how to discuss dating and sex with your children. So first, I'm going to talk about the stages of dating in my life and what I've learned. So the first stage was initial attraction when I was in the 5th grade. There was this one, and I liked her. I didn't really talk to her much. I acted like a cat around her, but other than that, I was ashamed, afraid, so I didn't really talk. And then in the 8th grade, when I started to really socialize a bit, well, not really socialize, but when I started to interact with people, I acted in a school play, and that really helped my social skills. And it was also at that time that other girls started to. So that was the 8th grade, and that kind of got me interested. But at the time, I was still very. It was also in 8th grade that for a requirement, they had like a sex ed course, and we had to get a signature from the parents saying that we talked to them about dating. So I approached my mom about asking her about dating and everything, and that made me very we didn't talk too much about it as far as I can recall. It was like probably a 1-minute conversation, and so I was still very uncomfortable with the whole. The 3rd stage then was my first date. I was 16, and we lasted about a week and a half. My mom really didn't approve of the relationship, and so it kind of just broke off. She was my first kiss, and so and then for after that a while I really did not date whatsoever. I kind of had maybe like really short-term things, Then the next stage, my parents got divorced, and I was living. At the time, I was then able to freely learn more about dating. So I read up on the topic, how to approach women, and in my interpersonal communication courses that I took and working with my speech therapist helped a little bit. I was ashamed to talk to my speech therapist about women and dating in general. But so I was able to research it, read more books, and I started to flirt with women to some degree. And during that stage, I really pushed myself. I really tried to win over some women's hearts. For the most part, it didn't work out, but I did learn a lot about myself. I discovered how to make eye contact in my previous video. Eye contact, how I wear them mostly because it's kind of like a movie screen, and so I can look at people's eyes with these glasses far more easily. So watch that video as I discuss more about making eye contact in general. So I've discovered how to improve myself and in regards to still things in general. And then the final stage for me was my first serious relationship. It ended about 5 or 6 months ago, and it lasted for about 6 months. It was a very successful relationship. I do not blame my autism for ending. It was, I was the best I could be, and I still try to improve myself, and I work on self-improvement. And now I'm pretty much recovered from that tough on me at first. Now I've dated, gone on a few more dates, mostly just coffee and stuff, interesting people here and there. Online dating quickly. So I met a few people, and initially, a lot of people I met online, like, maybe good friends, sort of thing, but overall, it hasn't been that successful for me. I actually completely gave up on online dating, and then the clear blue right after I give up on online dating, this attractive lady, we have a lot in common, contacts me, and so I think online dating is actually an excellent place to start if you're an individual with autism, because it really you get to have some distance before meeting someone. You get to really know them, and then when you finally meet them, there's a lot less to worry about. You don't have to approach them, like if you see them at, say, I don't know, a bookstore or a coffee shop or a bar if you go to bars. You don't have to approach the person. You get to communicate with them beforehand for individuals with autism. So that leads me to the next thing. So let's say an individual with autism. Well, what are some things? How do you go about dating them? Well, first of all, perhaps they're not talking to you, or they seem to want to be alone. Now this is probably because they have a lot going on in their mind. Perhaps they're thinking about like a book that they're writing or a project that they have. Chances are they're not thinking about another woman or another man if they're a woman. It's a possibility, but probably not. So they oftentimes need alone time. And so try to respect that as best as possible. Communication, I think, is a very important thing in all relationships. And a lot of individuals with autism might be very afraid to open up of you leaving them because chances are that most individuals with autism haven't had very many relationships. I mean, I've only had one serious relationship. I've had a couple of girlfriends here and there, but truly, and so they are afraid to open up. So what my suggestion is, open up to them first. Tell them really personal things about yourself. That way they feel more comfortable opening up to you. The other thing is that most individuals with autism give them really hard, heavy hugs. When you cuddle with them, just apply a little bit more force than you usually would. Just be there for them in general. As well, if they're not talking for a while, you're with them and they don't talk for what seems a couple hours, just don't talk as well. Sometimes no communication is the best kind of communication. A lot of time with an individual with autism, they don't like small talk. I don't like small talk, and it's an art. It is an art, but individuals with autism, they see you, and I see it as a waste of time. So a lot of them do, and so just being there for 2 hours while they don't say anything and you don't say anything, it's that can actually build a lot of chemistry and romantic connection for them. All right, so now the final presentation, sex. All right, I'm to for the parents' perspective. So if you have an individual with autism, what do you do in regards to talking about sex? What is an appropriate age? I think that an appropriate age is perhaps when they start getting into middle school, when they start to develop those things. And here's the thing. So let's say you have your daughter has autism. Let's talk about that first. I know that a lot of parents, you want your daughter to get married one day and be able to be on their own and everything like that. But you also have to think about, well, what about someone taking advantage of my child? And you might like, well, my child doesn't talk to anyone, my child doesn't have any friends. Well, I have news for you. I know from experience that there have been people, someone told me recently that they had a 14-year-old that was very antisocial, didn't get out much, and they ended up getting pregnant, And so, talk about birth control for your child. Maybe get them birth control pills or get them on the patch with their girl. Talk about condoms with them, both tested, and do not scold them, do not put them down, just be open about it, and if it's a guy and you don't think that they can understand, and put the condom on a banana, show them how to use it, talk to your child about dating and sex, be open, ask them if they have any questions, ask them what they feel about that. They might be very hesitant at first, so it might take them a while, this might be a conversation that you want to have, you want to take some time having. You might about it once. I'd say talk about it to them a few